You're listening to Paris Talks Marketing. My goal with this podcast is to dig deeper into digital marketing success than any other marketing podcast out there, to reveal the growth marketing strategies and tactics that are working today, empowering growth at amazing companies and organizations. Keep listening as I interview founders, CEOs, and marketing leaders from all around the world, primarily from companies in the tech and software as a service industries. Now, on with the episode. Go. Okay, hi everyone. Today I have the pleasure of being with Soumyadeb, who is the founder and CEO of Rudderstack. I've been practicing your first name, Soumyadeb. Is that pretty much okay? Does that sound all right?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Great.
Great job.
Do you want to just introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you do?
Yeah. Firstly, thanks a lot for having me. Really excited to be here. As Pai said, I am the founder and CEO of Rudderstack. Rudderstack is a startup based out of San Francisco Bay Area. I've been doing it for the last year and a half. This is really my third startup. I did a company before this called Mariana IQ. Ran it for 4 years, sold it to a company called 8x8. It is a public telecom company. Spent a year there, and some of the problems that I faced doing my job at 8x8 prompted me to start Rudderstack. And my first startup was right out of college. We had a couple of kids. We were doing we had some cool ideas around how to use embedded systems and how to do telemedicine. They're great technical problems, but very bad business ideas. So learned a lot. Other than being an entrepreneur, I have a PhD in databases. So I've mostly worked in data all my life, but data applied to marketing in the last couple of years. So that's my quick bio.
You mentioned that there was a problem that you identified at 8x8, and so you built Rudderstack to solve that problem. Am I right?
That is correct. And
what problem was that?
Yeah, so it is more of a problem for doing the stuff I was supposed to do, right? So 8x8 is like a public VoIP telecom company. So we have 100,000 customers. We have a lot of consumers using our product. What we wanted to do was to collect data about our customers, right? So understand what they are doing with the product, how much are they using the product, and so on, to drive a number of different use cases. So for example, we wanted to look at the product usage and predict churn. Can we say which of our 100,000 customers are going to churn based on various factors, if their product usage has been going down, or if they have a lot of pending support tickets and they're not happy about the product. So could we predict churn and then proactively reach out to them? The support team could reach out, give them a coupon or whatever, right? So we had all that, we in theory had all the data to do a good prediction about churn, but doing that in practice required to collect the data into one single place, do all kinds of machine learning on top of that data, and then send that result back to whatever tools the support team was using. So building this end-to-end system required collecting all these different places, the data from all these different places, bringing it to one central place. That's where the machine learning team and the data science team could work on that data, build models. And once the models are built, trained, and the predictions are ready, then you want to take that prediction and push it back to some tool like Gainsight, which the support team was using, right? So building this pipe end to end was a non-trivial thing. I mean, we started with collecting the data, and it's not a very trivial exercise to collect the data because of the complexity and the velocity and the amount of data. And that was kind of the genesis for starting Rudderstack, building a solution to make it really easy to collect customer data.
Do you all work with data hubs like BigQuery?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And the BigQuery or Snowflake or Redshift, these are the destination where you want to collect all that data, right? So in Rudderstack, that is the number one place where people are dumping all that data. But the complexity arises because of the different sources you are pulling the data from. So if you have a mobile app, then you want to collect data from the apps itself, right? What people are doing in the app. then if you have like some kind of a CRM system like Salesforce, you want to pull data from the Salesforce CRM system, right? And if you have some kind of like a ticketing system, you want to pull that data. If you are like a retail store, you also have like a physical point of sale system, and you want to pull that data, right? So the different places that you have customer data is staggering, and that adds to the complexity. But like the end goal is to bring all this together into some kind of a data warehouse like BigQuery or Snowflake and so on. So,
and then how does your platform work with BigQuery or Snowflake?
Yeah, I mean, that is like the way you use Rudderstack is you go to the UI, you say that like I want to send all this data into BigQuery or Snowflake. You give us the credentials and we'll pipe all the data into that system. So it's really easy to set things up on the destination side. On the source side, now we have different SDKs. So if you have a mobile app, then you embed our mobile SDK and you use that to collect data from the mobile app. Similarly, we have like server-side SDKs, we have JavaScript SDKs and all the stuff. At some point, we'll have a point of sale SDK also.
Okay. What is your most common type of customer? Who is your ideal customer?
So there are two aspects to that, right? One is like which teams are buying Rudderstack, and that is invariably the engineering teams. Like this customer ecosystem has also evolved quite a bit. Initially, it was the marketing team which was responsible for collecting customer data, right? They are collecting the data for doing more personalized marketing. But as companies evolve, they're realizing that the use case of customer data spans across orgs, right? It's not just marketing. There are support use cases. There are product use cases, right? There are product like personalization use cases. So because of the complexity of the data and the different use cases, more and more engineering teams are putting together this customer data stack. So we primarily sell to the engineering teams. So that's kind of on the buyer persona. The other aspect is like what kind of companies are we selling to? So it's mostly B2C companies. Like they are generally more advanced when it comes to collecting customer data and so on. So like 80% of our customers are B2C companies of some scale, right? We have customers from like a Series A, B company with like 20 to 30 employees, all the way to like large public companies. So that's the customer profile. We also have a few B2B companies. Like cutting edge B2B companies are also starting to collect more and more customer data and do like more advanced analytics on top. So yeah, but I would say like 80-20 split between B2C and B2B.
Are there any particular industries that you're targeting or focused on?
Yeah, there are two things. One is like e-commerce is not surprisingly. I mean, they have the largest customer base and they also want the most sophisticated when it comes to like doing analysis with customer data or like doing personalization and so on. So we have a bunch of e-commerce vendors. The largest like grocery delivery company in India, in Russia, in Saudi Arabia, in Turkey, and we're talking to a few of those customers in US. They're all using Rudderstack to collect customer data. So that's one thing which is overrepresented. But other than that, we also have like a couple of fintech customers, healthcare customers, and so on. And part of that also is because of our product differentiator, right? We are the only company which can be run inside a customer's environment. So it's like we have a SaaS offering, but we also have like a on-prem offering. So if somebody is in a regulated industry, they can use Rudderstack without sharing that data. So that also helps us get into some of these niche like regulated verticals.
Got it. I see also that you're pricing the product based on some usage-based pricing according to the number of events. Am I right?
Yeah, that is correct.
So starting at $500,000 and then 25 million up to, 200 million plus events. And how did you come up with that pricing model? Because that's very interesting. It's a great example of a usage-based pricing for a SaaS company.
Like figuring out the pricing is always the hard part, right? I mean, how do you price your product? And there is no like science to it. It is almost like you just like come up with something and then you test it out. And if it works, if all your customers are super happy with it, then you are probably underpricing your product. And then if they are super unhappy, then you're probably overpricing. So, I mean, it's not that we have kind of figured it out. We are still kind of learning from our customers, like what is the right price point. that's on the exact dollar amount. But to your question around usage-based pricing, you have to finally tie it to some notion, some vector, right? So that as your customer expands, right? If your customer grows, like in a B2C company, if they have like more customers, you want to make more money, right? I mean, they get more value of the products, you want to make more money out of it, right? So it has to be tied to some notion of a usage. Like traditionally, it is tied to number of users, but like for a product like ours, and the number of users doesn't make sense, right? I mean,
no, it doesn't.
So like how many events is a good proxy? I mean, as reasonable a proxy of like the scale of our customers as you can think of something else.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk a bit about the learn section of your website. Mm-hmm. And I can see that you're doing a whole lot of content marketing here. There's a blog, a very active blog, a video library, migration guides. There's a lot of documentation, comparison with head-to-head comparison with Segment and with Snowplow, and a bunch of case studies. Can you walk me through your content marketing strategy?
Yeah, I mean, that's again something we are learning. We have a great team which has been producing content at a very high velocity, and that has been super helpful. But again, I'm taking a step back, right? I mean, all our leads are inbound. I mean, we haven't closed a single deal which was like an outbound. So given the focus on inbound, we need to scale inbound, right? And the only way to scale inbound is to write great content, both on all the kind of content that you're talking about, right? So like, I mean, I won't say like we have kind of really figured out what content is working. It's mostly like some things we know works, like video content has been super helpful. They convert quite a bit. Webinars have been working. Like blogs, we have done a lot of blog. Some of them really show up on some popular websites. So to my earlier point, we are trying to sell to like the engineering teams, the developer persona, and so on. And then there are specific websites the developers really hang out, right? I mean, there is Hacker News, and there is like dev.to, Newsstack. Right? There's a popular website for developers. And the way to get exposure in those websites is like you write a great blog and that shows up on their first page. So we have been kind of writing a lot of content for developers, even if they're not completely about Rudderstack. I mean, selling to developers is always hard. You don't want to like just talk about yourself, right? You want to talk about a problem that they are having. So we have been kind of writing content around that to show up in websites where the developers are. Similarly, we also have been doing like SEO content, right? I mean, you do want to rank high on certain keywords, and then we have kind of written a bunch of content around that. So like to answer your question, our content market strategy is to like do a bunch of things, right? All the way from developer content to like case studies, which are more useful for sales collateral, right? When you're reaching out to a customer, they ask for a case study. So yeah, I mean, doing a bunch of stuff, but thankfully we have been like doing well in terms of velocity. I'm sure like there is always scope for improvement, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if that answers your question, like what exactly?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. I'm checking out some data right now on some keywords, and it looks like you've got some really strong organic rankings on Google for keywords that include clickstream and clickstream data. And it looks like it's a blog post that was, it's basically data mining for clickstream analytics, and it looks like that was updated a few times. But that's a great example of targeting. I don't know if it was intentional that you were targeting that keyword, but that keyword and the variations have several thousand searches per month, and you're ranking on page 1.
Exactly.
For lots of terms that include clickstream.
Yeah, so clickstream is a very
clickstream analytics.
It's a very important, relevant keyword for us, right? Because people who buy Rudderstack are generally trying to do clickstream analytics, right? They want to collect. This is the term that engineers often use for this kind of product, right? So yeah, I mean, ranking high on that helped.
What is clickstream analytics for those who don't know?
So clickstream, think of it as so what is clickstream firstly, right? Clickstream is it says click, but like it kind of means any activity in your app, right? So let's say if you have a website, then you want to collect all the activity that happens on that website, right? All the buttons your web visitors are clicking and all the pages they are going to. So that event stream of all the activity is what is generally called a click stream. And analytics means you want to collect all that data and then you want to do some analysis of that data. Right? Analytics is just one use case. I mean, you typically want to do first some analytics to understand, let's say, what pages people are going to more often and what products they're clicking on, what searches they are making. So that is called clickstream analytics. Like most, for example, if you know Google Analytics, then like people are sending their clickstream to Google Analytics to do like analytics on stop, right? So Google Analytics is great for like early like for simple analytics, but then if you want to do more sophisticated things, then you want to dump that data into some kind of a data warehouse and then do your own analysis on top. So that
do you try to catch people, engineers that might be looking to do data warehousing? And is that a good point in their journey to try to reach out to them and make them aware of Rudderstack's solution?
Yeah, absolutely. I think companies which are trying to put together a data warehouse or have recently bought a data warehousing solution are very good target for us to go after. So it has been challenging though to find those people, right? I mean, to find people who are like just setting up a data warehouse. And so yeah, I mean that's something.
Why not paid search?
Yeah, I mean the only challenge with that is like the warehouse keywords are very, very expensive, right? Snowflake, BigQuery. I mean, if you want to just bid on Snowflake or BigQuery or Redshift, like yeah, those are very expensive keywords, and those are not like the way I think about it. Like somebody who is just researching on Snowflake is probably a bit early. So somebody, once they have purchased Snowflake and deployed it and so on, that's when you want to go and sell a clickstream solution, right? I mean, dumping clickstream into the warehouse is not the first thing they do. The first thing is to like buy a warehouse and dump some ETL data, right? Whether you are pulling from Salesforce and so on. So that's generally the first use case. And then once you have like a data science team or some kind of a data engineering team, that's when you want to pull clickstream data, because analyzing that does require some sophistication. So what I'm saying is like we do want to capture people who have set up a data warehouse. They have like have been on it for like a couple of months, and then go and pitch to them. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I kind of understand the journey a little bit now. So someone who's researching data warehousing is at a much earlier stage in their journey than somebody who's researching clickstream data and clickstream analytics. And it's much more valuable for you to get to them when they're looking for clickstream data, because that's when they have a direct use case.
Exactly.
So gotcha.
Like Segment is the biggest vendor in this space. I mean, they recently got acquired by Twilio, and like that's why we also rank high on like segment related keywords, right? Segment alternative. I mean, like organically rank high, not just or like open source segment. So
yeah, I think that you've got a great page. I'm going to go to the segment comparison page, and this is something that I think not enough SaaS companies do this, but you have a head-to-head comparison with the heuristics, the features, and then here's Rudderstack versus Segment, and you all are checking, well, all of the boxes, and Segment is only checking a few of the boxes. I guess that it's also carefully selected, those criteria.
Of course.
But we've seen this work for numerous B2B SaaS companies, because people that are looking for a segment alternative, they really do want to see that kind of comparison. They're looking for what are the features and what's the value and the price. And I also can see from your paid keywords that you have a lot of keywords around segment alternatives and snowplow and these types of keywords. I know that those are expensive too, because you're bidding on someone else's brand, but are those working, and do those have a good return on ad spend for you?
I mean, honestly, like I don't think so. I mean, they don't have a lot of traffic, so it's hard to say if like they're driving substantial like lead volume to us. I mean, for us, I think the number one keyword is still like our own brand keyword, Rudderstack. So I'm not sure how customers are finding us. That's still a mystery for us. Like, where are they learning about Rudderstack? Maybe it's all the content we are writing and distributing the content. That's how they find us. But like organic search of Rudderstack is like by far like if I had to put a number to it, like 10 times the number of leads we get from our own keyword is what we get from like segment alternative or some of these alternative keywords. So we kind of do it, but it's not that they're driving a lot of leads and traffic and so on.
I got it. You mentioned some of the popular communities where developers and engineers are going to naturally go, like Hacker News. What about LinkedIn? Have you done any type of marketing for LinkedIn, because you can target them specifically on their
Yeah.
job titles?
So, I mean, LinkedIn was a mixed bag. I mean, we have a lot of followers on our LinkedIn page. So, and like it keeps going up. So I think like on the LinkedIn organic, creating a page and getting organic followers, like we have kind of done well. And whenever we kind of share like an interesting blog post for developers, we get a lot of traffic to that from LinkedIn. So that has definitely worked well. What hasn't worked well is like paid ads on LinkedIn. So I don't know, maybe it was some problem with the CTA, whether it was a problem on the messaging or whatever, right? So like when I look at the CPC numbers on LinkedIn, they were like over the roof, and it didn't create any volume in terms of a number of leads. So so yeah, I mean, summary, I think our organic distribution through our company page has been super successful on LinkedIn.
How often are you posting on LinkedIn organically?
Pretty often. I mean, like every blog we write, we generally post it on LinkedIn. So I mean, we are at a cadence of like one blog a week, like actually slightly more. So 1.5 to 2, I would say now. A big content thing. So I mean,
you have any plan? Yeah.
Some of like I have had people sometimes complain also that you're posting too often on LinkedIn. But yeah, I think I take that as a compliment.
Oh, really? I would take that as a compliment too. I think LinkedIn is one of the last remaining places where you can get organic reach. So if you do invest in building a following for the company, and you're posting from the company and you're posting from your personal profile, the reach that you'll get without advertising is still pretty nice.
Exactly.
So we're posting at least once or sometimes more than once a day on LinkedIn. Yeah, and that's not always driven by blog posts. It could be other stuff too, such as just a quick video or a daily vlog type of a thing. But we're seeing some great traction with LinkedIn.
That's great. I mean, good to get that validation. I mean, I think it's the same. Our experience was the same. So good to know that like video content also works well. So maybe we should give it a shot. I mean, so far we have been mostly doing like blogs and so on, but video content, we kind of host it on Vimeo, and then we have put a landing page. So we haven't really shared video on LinkedIn. Worth a shot.
I think LinkedIn, because it's trying to compete with Facebook video, they're giving extra organic reach to video posts.
Interesting.
Because they really want to get people to adopt video more on the native LinkedIn video. So when we do videos on LinkedIn, we don't post a YouTube link or a Vimeo link, but we actually post the raw video file, so it becomes a native LinkedIn video. And because of that, we've seen we get greater organic reach when we post native videos in LinkedIn.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. How about Facebook? Have you even thought about that or tried Facebook?
Yeah, I mean,
a channel.
Right now we are doing retargeting on Facebook. I mean, it's like that, and like it makes total sense. But that's the only thing we have kind of done on Facebook. So retargeting users, and we kind of tried running some campaigns on Facebook, but I mean, it's very hard to target based on like B2B demographics on Facebook. Right? I mean, there are. I mean, for example, we want to target like data engineers. Like there are these communities called data engineering community, but they're just huge. There are 3 million, not like 3 to 10 million people who have interest in data engineering. I mean, that's just too broad. So I think whatever algorithm Facebook is applying to like create those like audiences, that doesn't seem to be at least working for us. So.
Yeah, I understand. The remarketing makes a lot of sense because you're just following someone who's already had some exposure somewhere. And normally the Facebook remarketing click will be much cheaper than a LinkedIn advertising click. Yeah. But beyond that, I can imagine these back-end developer groups and things, it's going to be so large. It's going to be too diluted.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I've also noticed here that you have a free sign up option here on the site, and it allows people, I guess it's with limited use, but you have 500,000 events or less per month. And is this a popular way? Do people kick the tires first, usually with the?
I mean, particularly when you're selling to developers. I mean, absolutely. I think when you're selling to developers, the last thing they want is to like talk to a salesperson. So They want to kick the tire, see if it is working, read your documentation. We also have an open source product. So like we have a free tier on the SaaS offering, but we have an open source product which you can download and set it up and run yourself, right? So that also is like a big channel for us. Like we get a bunch of downloads on the open source product. So both are super important when we are selling to developers, I believe.
Yeah, product-led marketing, especially for an audience that is not too keen to get on the phone with a salesperson, I imagine.
Yeah, and we have had cases like pretty large enterprises where I don't think I'm allowed to name them because we haven't closed the deal yet. But yeah, I mean they like CTOs and so on in those orgs, like they have set up an account with their personal email. They have kicked the tires, see if it is worth a shot, and then they kind of reached out to us. And in the first sales call which we had with them, there were like 11 people on their side. So they're already sold, like the product already sold. So I mean, now it's mostly about the commercials and running a POC and all that stuff like MSA. So having a free tier is super important when you're selling, like when you have this like bottoms up developer first targeting.
Absolutely.
Adam Gross, I don't know if you know him. Like he used to be the CEO of Heroku, SVP at Salesforce, and he has this framework called 1-2-3 framework of like selling to developers. So it's a great read. So yeah, can
you walk us quickly through that 1-2-3 framework? I'm not familiar with it.
It's kind of like how you sell to like companies like that, right? So you start with like developers like at the bottom, and so like he kind of contrasts like the traditional sales versus like the bottoms up sales, right? And the traditional sales was very much top down. You go and like have dinner with the exec and the CIO or CTO, and then you sell to him first, and then that gets pushed to the actual users. So that was the traditional way of selling. The new age selling, particularly to developers, is like you first sell to the developers bottoms up, like they kind of use the free tier product, then you kind of upgrade them to the paid product, and then you layer on sales on top, right? So who can go and pitch to like the other teams in the company and like maybe then sell to the exec. So this bottoms up motion is very different from the tops down motion that was like a decade back. So and he kind of gives example. I mean, you should watch the video. I mean, I probably didn't do a justice to describing that, but yeah, it's definitely a great watch.
I'm also curious, since you know so much about machine learning and algorithms, are you able to build a machine learning algorithm that can detect the likelihood or propensity of someone who's using the free product to be sales ready?
Yeah, I mean,
based on some sort of activity levels or signals, engagement.
Yeah, I mean that's a great question, and in fact, my previous startup was all about that. So we could predict how likely is somebody going to buy the product based on various different things. Firstly, like match with their existing customer profile, so who you have sold to in the past, and how much do they match that profile from the same persona, same set of interests, same set of companies. So like there is that match that is important, and the second important factor is like how much are they using the product, right? So you can literally build a model to like do that, and you like in any large org you have enough historic data. Even for a company like our size where we have like thousands of leads, you have enough historic data to say that what are the kind of people who are converting. So you can take all this data about both the users, the actual customers, but also their usage of the product. You can feed it into a model, and you can predict like how much are they going to buy. I mean, your model will be as good as the data. So the more richer data you can feed it, and the more data you have, the better would be the model prediction. But like this is definitely like, and this is one of the big use cases of Rudderstack. Like we have customers who are using Rudderstack for similar use cases. Like maybe they don't build a very sophisticated model, but even a simple model saying that if somebody has like created 5 workspaces in the product, then they're more likely to buy. And that itself is a very valuable data, which often a lot of the sales teams don't have, right? I mean, you have the sales org, which rarely has visibility into the product usage. So I think Rudderstack helps to reach that data.
So do you all use your own product to do this for your free trial users? Okay.
We do use Rudderstack for our predicting. We have a lead scoring model that is running on Snowflake. So we pull all that data through Rudderstack into Snowflake. We run this model, and then we kind of push this data back into Salesforce. So that our sales.
And so I don't know if this is something that you can share with us, but what are the primary signals of a free trial user or a freemium user that tell you it's time to get in touch with the sales?
Yeah,
at
I mean,
all?
for us, it is like have they added a source and a destination. So we have like this connection, right? If they set up a source and a destination, that means they are really serious about like. It's a very simple step in the journey, right? I
Okay.
mean, it's pretty easy, but
That's probably one of the first steps to using the product, right?
yeah, but as long as if you have a valid source and a destination, a lot of people just add a random destination, put in some random API keys. But if you have a valid source and a destination, then then you are ready to like have a sales conversation. So I think, and again, we are tweaking the model. I mean, we have a very basic model. I think we can do better as we have more data. But
yeah, about how many free users do you have today?
like in terms of signups, a few thousands. But when it comes to like live customers who are like sending traffic through us, like few hundreds. So
Okay. But it's enough to at least begin working with a machine learning model, I suppose.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
So cool. I mean, sorry, Pais. I mean, I didn't realize. Was it supposed to be 30 minutes? Because I have another call. I need to.
Yeah, we can wrap up. No problem at all. I think I got most of my questions answered, and I think it's fascinating what you're doing with Rudderstack. So Soumyadeb, I wish you all the best, and thanks for spending the time with me. Another great episode in the books. Hope you enjoyed it. If you want to get notified when future episodes drop, be sure to subscribe to Paris Talks Marketing on your favorite podcast player. And to learn more about SaaS growth marketing, visit hop.online. That's hop, H-O-P.online. Have a great day.